Last day of work. Woo-woo.
What's God? 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 These guys know sports. Yeah. These guys know sports. These guys know.
And welcome to Wise Guys. These guys know sports on the Worldwide Sports Network on Monday, August the 24th, with my co-host, Mr. Clarence Dixon. What's up, Clarence?
What's up, Trey, man? How you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. Everybody remember go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. Be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram with These Guys Know Sports. Also be sure to subscribe to our Wise Guys YouTube channel on YouTube. Subscribe to Worldwide Sports Network as well, and follow Worldwide on Facebook and Instagram too. Clarence, how was your weekend, bro?
The weekend was fine, man. Just watched a lot of NBA, man. Some exciting games that actually happened. We finally got some sweeps in there, and I'm just so excited to get into it. You know, let's watch some NBA games. What about you?
It was pretty good. I watched a lot of NBA basketball this weekend. Just kind of relaxed, you know, took in the benefits from being off on Saturday and Sunday. It's a luxury to be off on the weekend. So I got a chance to watch prime time NBA basketball Saturday and Sunday. So it was great. But you know,
I'm off this weekend though.
You off this weekend?
Yeah.
You got to set up some plans this weekend, man. You and your girl got to go do something, man.
Yeah, man, we will, man. But hey, man, we need to link up, man.
We got to link up for sure. But before we get into our show, we got to send a happy birthday shout out to the Black Mamba. We miss you, Kobe. We already know what Kobe meant to the NBA world and what he dedicated, you know, to that Lakers organization. So we want to send a happy birthday shout out from Wise Guys to the Black Mamba. We love you, Kobe. We miss you and Gigi. And tonight, the Lakers will honor Kobe, and they will wear their Black Mamba jerseys tonight in Game 4 in that series against the Portland Trail Blazers. So, you know, I'm excited about that, Clarence. I actually like those. I like those all black Mamba jerseys. Do you?
Yeah, I like them too. I feel like in prime time they look good under the lights. You know what I'm saying? When the lights shining on them. Like, I think that's gonna give them more motivated in the game tonight. But we're gonna get into that later though.
Yeah. We're gonna preview the game a little bit later on. Also, we're gonna talk about Rob Gronkowski. He says Tom Brady's arm actually may be stronger now than it was when Brady was 33 years old. So we're gonna talk about that as well. Also later on the show, we're gonna talk about the Celtics sweeping the Philadelphia 76ers. As everyone knows by now, the Sixers did fire head coach Brett Brown. So he is gone from the Philadelphia 76ers. And then we also gonna preview that Lakers Blazers series as well. Big time game 4 matchup tonight in the bubble. But we begin in the NBA bubble, and we begin with the Los Angeles Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks tie the series 2-2 on Luka Doncic's buzzer-beating three-point shot over Reggie Jackson. Luka dropped 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists. Trey Burke had a great game, 25 points, 5 rebounds. For the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard chipped in 32 points, 9 rebounds. Lou Williams had 36 points, 5 assists. So as we open up the show today, Clarence, after that shot heard around the world by Luka Doncic, the question here is, will Luka be able to carry the Mavericks to an upset win in this series?
Man, first of all, Luka practiced that shot almost every day. Like he practiced that step back three every day, and the step backs is taking over the NBA. But to answer your question, though, Trey, I believe Luka can carry this team over this Clippers team. Now, let me tell you why. Because the second star on the Clippers team, Paul George, is not showing up again. He's not giving them 150% of effort work. He's being the cancer on the team because he's not showing up and playing his part. Now it was more impressive that Luka Doncic led this Mavericks team without Kristaps Porzingis. And I think that game, man, I was watching, I'm like, wow, every possession, they was scoring, they was hype. Like he made them feel like they made them better around them. Like he turned the gas on. Like you said, Trey Burke had 25 points. Seth Curry had like 20 points. He only missed one shot in the game. Tim Hardaway had 20 points. Like he had everyone active. And we can't forget about Luka. Luka was doing his thing. And you just see it. You should expect from this type of guy because he's a superstar in the making. He's a future superstar. And if they keep playing like this and Paul George's not showing up, they have a high chance of knocking off the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if Paul George continues to have no-shows in these playoff games, the Los Angeles Clippers and Doc Rivers and Kawhi Leonard, they in trouble. But when it comes to Luka Doncic's clearance, right now, like I believe Luka Doncic is the best player in the NBA under the age of 25. I love me some Jason Tatum with the Boston Celtics, and I think he is a superstar in the making. Siakam for the Raptors, he on the come up, and obviously has a championship on his resume. And of course, I'm a Donovan Mitchell fan. He fresh off a 51-point game performance last night against the Denver Nuggets. But what this kid, Luka Doncic, is currently doing at age 21, Clarence, this is something that we have not seen before. I don't remember LeBron, MJ, Kobe, Melo, KD. I don't even remember them doing what Luka's doing right now at 21. Right now, what Luka Doncic is doing at age 21, we haven't seen it before, and it's something that is very, very unique. Like, he was supposed to be playing on a bad left ankle, Clarence, on a bad left ankle. Like, guy is unbelievable. And to drop a triple-double, hitting big-time shots, going shot for shot with Kawhi Leonard and Lou Williams, it's amazing what this young brother and Luka Doncic is doing right now. And I couldn't even tell that he had a bum ankle. I couldn't tell he had a bum ankle.
Either.
He was making play after play after play. And every time it seemed like the Clippers were going to pull away from the Mavs, here comes Luka bringing the Mavs back on a long run that gets them back into the basketball game. Luka became the third player in NBA playoff history with a triple-double and a game-winning buzzer-beater shot in the same game. So he's playing great basketball, and he's starting to creep his way, Clarence, into that top 5 NBA player conversation. When you think about it, what this brother is doing right now, carrying the Dallas Mavericks, he's playing at such a high level. He's such a great floor leader. He's such a great facilitator, and he's a tremendous passer. What he's doing right now, he is creeping his way into that top 5 NBA players list for me. And I want to show some love to Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway. They stepped up in Kristaps Porzingis' absence. They dropped a combined 46 points. They went 18 of 32 shooting from the floor. They went 7 of 13 from three-point range. So they stepped up big time in Porzingis' absence. When I was on Twitter before the game clearance, when I saw that Kristaps was out, I said, oh man, this is big trouble for the Mavs.
Right.
This is big trouble for the Mavs. And I think the Clippers are going to take advantage of Porzingis' injury, and they're going to go up 3-1 and take a commanding lead in this series. And Luka shut that completely down. He showed up to the party yesterday, and he showed why he is universally recognized as the best player that we have currently under the age of 25. And we got a lot of promise and talent in this league, Clarence. A lot of players. Devin Booker out there in Phoenix, he balled out in the bubble. We know what Donovan Mitchell is doing for the Utah Jazz. I mentioned Jason Tatum and Siakam a little bit earlier. I love John Morant with the Memphis Grizzlies. I love Trae Young, too, with the Atlanta Hawks. He's able to pull up from 40. He can pull up as soon as he passes that court. But none of these dudes is doing what Luka Doncic is doing, Clarence. He is putting on a clinic, and he is balling out for the Dallas Mavericks, and he has them in a position to possibly pull the upset in this first round series with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, Trey. I wouldn't expect this NBA playoffs to be crazy like this. I mean, understandable about the bubble and no fan situation, but these lower seed teams, like I consider them as younger teams, these teams, man, is coming up. And the Dallas Mavericks, they are definitely like surprising. It's surprising that Luka put on the clinic like that, like you said, what, 43.17 is rebound. The thing I loved about Luka was his tougher competitor. He's a competitor, a young competitor that's not scared at any level. He's not afraid at any level. You see the game. You see the times he went at Marcus Morris. He missed the shot. He snatched it, and he's yelling and one. He's a tough competitor. That's a tough competitor right there. And for his talent, like his art of work, it's just so amazing, man. Because he's young. He's younger than me. He's younger than me. He's 21 years old. I'm 24. I'm like, how come I couldn't do that at 21? Even though I'm not a hooper though, but he makes things so fun watching, and he's a talented player, man. I ain't gonna lie. I think he's sneaking his way into top 5. If he was right outside the top 5, he would probably be literally number 6.
He's for sure top 10. For sure.
Oh, ain't no list without him.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And what he's doing right now is he's carrying the Dallas Mavericks offensively. Like he really is the engine. Like he's the key that starts the engine up for the Dallas Mavericks offense. And this team offensively, they have a nice team. They have shooters on their squad, and Tim Hardaway, Trey Burke, Finney Smith, Porzingis, Cleveland. All these guys can shoot perimeter shots. So what Luka Doncic is doing is he's attacking the paint, and he's creating opportunities for those shooters on the outside for the Dallas Mavericks. But one more thing I want to give the Dallas Mavericks some credit for in this Game 4 win. They out-rebounded the Clippers 54-51, and they outscored the Clippers 62-52 at points in the paint. That was the biggest difference for me in the game. The fact that they was able to out-rebound the Clippers, and they scored more points than the Clippers in the paint. And we know they can hit the perimeter shot. So I just think overall, offensively, the Dallas Mavericks, they are showing up, and they are showing why they were one of the best offensive rated teams we had in the NBA this year. And I think Doc Rivers and that Clippers coaching staff, Clarence, they losing some sleep tonight. They're going to lose some sleep tonight because they don't right now, defensively, they have no answers for Luka. And it didn't matter if they had Marcus Morris on him, Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. He was scoring at will. They had no answers for this brother.
Can I say something real quick? And with Kawhi, before the Luka Doncic game shot, that was a great play for what Kawhi Leonard did. A good setup when he kicked it out to Marcus Morris. But I felt like that type of play is well designed for Paul George. Like, that's supposed to be him shooting that 3 ball instead of just looking like a decoy. But that was my next question to you though, Trey, man, real quick. Even you had the Clippers winning the final. You had the Clippers winning the finals. You had them cruising against this Dallas team. I think you said you had them in 6 games.
No, I had it in 5.
You had them in 5. Oh, yeah, you had them in 5 games. So they overachieved your conference. So I want to ask you this: what's going on with Paul George, man? What's going on with playoff P?
He ain't playoff P right now. He's pandemic P. He's been terrible. Yes, he has been terrible. Paul George, so far in this series, he's been awful. In the last 3 games, Clarence, he has scored 14, 11, and 9 total points. That's in the last 3 games. Let me give you some of these statistical numbers comparing Paul George's numbers from the regular season to the playoffs. In the regular season, he averaged 22 points per game. In the playoffs, he's averaging 15 points per game. In the regular season, he averaged 5.7 rebounds. In the playoffs, he's averaging 7.3 rebounds. So he is rebounding the basketball at least. He had 4 assists per game in the regular season. So far in the NBA bubble in the playoffs, he has 4 assists. So his assist and rebounding numbers are still the same, if not better. The problem is his offensive production. During the regular season, he shot 44% from the field. so far in these playoffs, he shot 29% from the field. So he's been terrible offensively for the Los Angeles Clippers. And he's not that co-star right now that Kawhi Leonard needs to take the Clippers to their ultimate goal, and that's to win a championship. If you remember, last year, Kawhi Leonard had an opportunity to re-sign with the Toronto Raptors. He could have stayed with the Raptors and pursued championships with Siakam and Gasol and a great coach and Nick Nurse. Basically, Kawhi Leonard chose Paul George over Siakam. That's pretty much what happened. And he did. And so far, since these playoffs have started, that decision seems like a decision that Kawhi Leonard may regret. He may regret it because playoff P has turned into pandemic P, and he's been terrible so far in these playoffs, Clarence. And he has to get it together in order for them to have any chance of winning the NBA championship. They were my championship pick, but that was Paul George playing at a superstar level. He has superstar capabilities, but he's been playing like a role player. He's been playing terrible. I expect more from Paul George.
Man, he's been shooting horrible, bro. 10 for 47? And you said the last 3 games, 15, 11, and 9?
The last 3 games, 14, 11, and 9. That's just point total.
I think, and then he's 10 for 47 in field goal. So he's not shooting the ball enough. And he stated himself like if he shot the ball, he'd be playing a lot more better. I don't even think that because I just think he don't have good luck in the playoffs. I just don't think that. 4 straight sweeps. He ain't made it past the second round in 4 or 5 years. This guy is struggling in the playoffs, man.
Now he hasn't gotten past the first round since I believe like 2014. He hasn't been past the first round since like 2014. But that one year, I want to say it was 2018 or 2017. I can't remember exactly which year. But they went up against LeBron James and the Cavaliers. If you lose to LeBron, okay, that's understandable. But I still expect you to play well. But last year in the playoffs, he didn't play very well for Oklahoma City. He didn't do very well even with them in the playoffs. So I just think playoff P, has been terrible so far in these NBA playoffs, and he has to get together. But one more thing I want to say real quick, Clarence, before we move on.
Yeah.
It was one particular play that, was really the play of the game for me. Even though obviously Luka Doncic hit that game-winning shot, before he actually caught the pass, from the inbounder, there was something that happened that I had to call out on our show today. On that last play, why didn't Kawhi fight over the screen and guard Luka on the last play? Why did you
seen that.
Why did you switch a 6'3" guard and Reggie Jackson? And defensive win shares this year, Reggie Jackson, he is ranked 235th. 235th in defensive win shares. Now, I will say, had Patrick Beverley been playing in this game, Clarence, Patrick Beverley would have been in the game on the last possession. It wouldn't have been Reggie Jackson. But I still have an issue with Kawhi Leonard, a player who's won a Defensive Player of the Year award, letting the Mavericks do the pick and roll, and they get the switch on Reggie Jackson. I knew what was coming. We all knew what was coming. We knew the ball was going to be in Luka's hands on the last possession. I would have took my chances with a Defensive Player of the Year like Kawhi Leonard, a player of his caliber, compared to Reggie Jackson, a 6'3" guard. Like, you lose about 4 or 5 inches on that matchup. I think
he's
the Mavericks,
6'7" too.
Once that switch took place, the Mavericks had the advantage. They had the advantage. And I think Kawhi Leonard should have did a better job of fighting over that screen.
I agree. I definitely agree. Regardless, Luka is scoring on you in the game. But you're right, though, Trey. In that type of moment, he literally let the time clock go down. In that moment, Kawhi Leonard needs to be on him. Kawhi Leonard needs to be defending him. He could have defended that 3. His hands is huge to cover his whole face. I didn't understand that either. I was thinking to myself, like, why is Reggie Jackson on him? I can say this. Yeah, Reggie Jackson gave up a 3, but it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. Kawhi Leonard should have went under that screen and guarded Luka. Paul George ain't run no smoke.
No, he did actually, Clarence. He did go under the screen. He should have went over the screen. That way he could have stayed attached to Luka. That was the biggest issue. And I think sometimes Doc Rivers and the Los Angeles Clippers, they are so prideful on defense, and they feel they got so much big egos with their defensive team. They switch everything. And I think that cost them in game 4 because they switched the pick and roll, and the matchup the Mavericks had, which was in their advantage, was Luka versus 6'3" Reggie Jackson. He had no shot. Kawhi, you have to fight over the screen. I had a major issue with that last defensive play of the game for the
mental mistake.
And I think it ultimately cost them the game overall.
It was a mental mistake for Kawhi Leonard. And Paul George ain't want no smoke anyway, so we just gonna leave it as that. But who wins game 5 tomorrow night?
I'm gonna say the Clippers gonna win game 5. I picked the Clippers to win
sure?
the series. Yes, I picked the Clippers to win this series in 5 games. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but I still think the Clippers will win this series. I expect Pandemic P to turn back into Playoff P and to make some shots for the Clippers. And I expect Paul George to prove why he is the second best player on this team and one of the top two-way players we have in the NBA. I'm expecting a better performance from Paul George, Clarence. That's why I'm picking the Clippers to win game 5. It's going to be a great game. I think it's going to come down to the final 5 minutes again because Luka keeps the Mavericks in games. But I expect the Clippers to outlast the Mavericks tomorrow night and take a 3-2 lead heading into game 6.
I'm actually taking the Dallas Mavericks in this one. I think they're going to steal game 5 because Luka playing at a high level, a high superstar level. He's leading his team, and his team is following him. And unfortunately, Porzingis, his knee is uncertain, so he might not play game 5 tomorrow. So you have to like put it all in Luka's hands and see what goes from there. But I got Dallas winning this tomorrow in a close one.
Close one. Yeah, see, and the thing is, too, when I look at the Clippers, how in the hell are you giving up 135 and Kristaps Porzingis didn't even play? He didn't even play. How are you giving up 135 points to the Dallas Mavericks and Kristaps sat out? It makes no sense. And this is a team that prides themselves on defense. They pride themselves on defense. So I expect this team to get some stops. But again, they pride getting away. That's why they always switch everything. We're this great defensive team. We can switch everything and we're still going to be okay. No, sometimes you have to fight over that screen. That's why I love the NBA plans because we get a chance to see the best players guard the opposing team's best players. And I wanted to see Kawhi Leonard on Luka on that last possession. I wanted to see it. And we didn't get a chance to see it. Yeah. And we didn't get a chance to see it because Kawhi Leonard chose to go under a screen instead of going over it. But we'll see what happens in game 5. This is a critical game in this series. I don't know the exact numbers, but whoever wins game 5 in majority of playoff series, they win the series. Just so
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But let's move on and let's talk about the Utah Jazz, who are in a groove right now. The Utah Jazz beat the Denver Nuggets 129-127 to take a commanding 3-1 lead in a first-round playoff series for the Denver Nuggets. Murray dropped 50 points, 11 rebounds, with 18 of 31 shooting from the floor. He went 9 of 15 from three-point range. Jokic dropped 29 points. He had 7 rebounds. But Donovan Mitchell, he had 51 points as well, 7 assists. And Mike Conley dropped 26 points, 4 assists. So my question for you is, Clarence, is this series more about the Jazz winning or is it more about the Nuggets losing it?
Okay, first of all, I want to say this. The last people that had the two teams compete against two players that compete each other that both put up 50 points was your man Kobe Bryant and Antoine Jameson. They both put up 51 points. And I want to say this. And another thing I want to say, though, Trey, and this really answering your question. Like you said, I think I'm going to say this. You know how we talk about Nikola Jokic is the best center in the NBA and he's better than Embiid?
You say that. I know.
And I feel like he's letting me down because he's supposed to be scoring like Jamal Murray. He's supposed to be putting up them type of numbers. He has the mismatch over Gobert, but it just seems like Gobert is really playing good defense against the Joker, man. But to answer your question though, I think this series is more about the Jazz winning than the Nuggets losing though, because Donovan Mitchell, he's literally been in these situations before. He he got put out the first round a couple times, and he knows what to take. But I'm a little scared on that Jazz side though, because they only have one super scorer, one good scorer for real. That's Mitchell. He put up dominant numbers, but he's doing an amazing job finding the mismatch, doing a pick and roll action with Rudy Gobert. And I think that's really having a lot of success into their ways of winning these games. But the Jazz is playing phenomenal. Donovan Mitchell, this is his second game in this series that put up 50 plus points. I think Donovan Mitchell, man, he's phenomenal. And if like to answer your question, the other one, like I really believe he's like literally a top 5 player that's under 25 in the NBA, man.
Yeah, but I disagree with you about Jokic. Jokic last night had 29 points. He shot 50% from the floor. He went 12 of 24 shooting overall. I think he actually played pretty well last night in 39 minutes for the Denver Nuggets. He had 7 rebounds. So you got to remember, going up against a great defensive player in Rudy Gobert. I think 29 points on 50% shooting is pretty good for the Joker, Clarence. So I disagree with you about that. Yeah,
it is though. But at the same time, though, this the playoffs, though, Trey. Let's be honest, man. This the playoff. And if you in a high scoring game with another team and their player is dominating, and yes, your other player is dominating, you need to be padding up them points with them too, because you two are the main superstars. Y'all just went down 3-1. Now they're in a situation how they gonna come back and fight for this. Now Donovan Mitchell, all they worry about is closing this out. But for Jokic, I just feel like I need more scoring from him, because he don't take a lot of shots in the game. He doesn't. He's a smart, patient, short scorer, but I need more scoring from him.
From the Joker.
Yeah, from the Joker.
See for me, the Denver Nuggets, their issues is not offensively. Their issues is defensively. And Donovan Mitchell last night, he scored 51 points. He became just the 4th player in NBA history to have 2 or more 50-point games in the playoffs. The only other 3 players that accomplished that feat was MJ, Allen Iverson, and Wilt Chamberlain. So that's a great list to be a part of.
Elite.
Donovan Mitchell. But the Nuggets, defensively, they can't stop Donovan Mitchell. And if he doesn't score, they foul him, Clarence. Last night, he went 17 from 18 from the free throw line. I think he's missed like 2 free throws so far in this series. So if they can't stop him from scoring, they foul him and they put him on the free throw line and he knocks down his free throws. But for the Utah Jazz, they got some great offensive production yesterday from Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley. Jordan Clarkson, he dropped 24 points. Mike Conley contributed 26 points. And they both shot 50% from 3-point range. So I thought the Utah Jazz were going to struggle to score in this series. That's why I picked the Denver Nuggets in 6. Boy, was I wrong. They are putting up points at an elite clip. I thought them losing Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic was injured. He didn't come to the bubble. I thought that was going to be a major loss for the Utah Jazz. But Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson, they have stepped up in a huge way for the Utah Jazz. And when I watch these games in this series so far, it seems like the Jazz, they have more playmakers than the Denver Nuggets. And basically the shots that they're hitting easier shots than the Denver Nuggets. I see plays where Murray or Jokic, they'll hit a shot, but it'll be a difficult shot. And when you're in the playoffs, the team that hits the easier shots and have the most easiest shots and they hit them, those are the teams that normally that win. The teams that have the most difficulty as far as being able to score, they lose. And I think the Utah Jazz are getting easier shots than the Denver Nuggets. And that's the problem that I have with them overall in this series. I think defensively, they got to make some adjustments.
Yeah, but I want to shout out Mike Conley, because I felt like that he definitely balanced out that Utah team. In game 1, they didn't really have a facilitator can't bring the ball up and facilitate for him and pass the ball. And I think he contributed well, and bring his veteran presence. He was 4 for 8 on the 3-point shooting. That helped out a lot. 26 points. I'll take that from Mike Conley. And I think he balanced out this team enough. Because, with Donovan Mitchell, he was bringing up the ball like 75% of the time. And, him, he like to set himself up so he can score. And like you said, if the Nuggets is basically fouling him, they're bringing more luck, bad luck to themselves because he can hit free throws. He only missed one free throw yesterday, 17 out of 18. That's impressive. Like, yeah,
Yes,
he
it
only
is.
missed two. He only missed two free throws in his playoff though, Trey. So that's like you don't want to foul him, but you wanna get key stops though. But he's getting the attention before he can get fouled. So I think that's impressive as well. Like he's drawing fouls.
And it's amazing because in game one, in the fourth quarter, the Utah Jazz had like a 4-point lead. Donovan Mitchell he was rolling. And I don't know if you remember, there was a key play down the stretch where Donovan Mitchell, he didn't cross the half court line in the 8 seconds. And they got a 8-second violation. That changed the whole entire complexion of the game. And the Denver Nuggets got back in the game. And it was a key play. If he didn't do that, they were already up 4 at that time. If he didn't do that, you could make a legitimate argument that Utah Jazz could have swept the Denver Nuggets. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it could be possible. But let me ask you a question before we move on. What adjustments does Nuggets head coach Mike Malone need to make in order to get back into this series?
Well, they need more scorers to get involved into the game plan. Like, you can't just have Jamal Murray keep dropping 50, even though it's impressive. But you need more scores from your supporting cast. And like you stated, they need to play defense. They need to play enough defense to stop Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he's having a scoring spree over there. You got to move your feet, slide your feet, put your hands up. That's only that's gonna help a lot. But they need more scores on that team because believe it or not, they have a nice supporting cast that can contribute to the scoring. They just need to bring them out. They need to step up and play. What about you?
I think that they need to get more production offensively from Paul Millsap and Porter. Like Porter Jr. got to score more points. I think in this game, Porter Jr. only had 9 points, 4 of 8, shooting from the floor in 23 minutes. You need Porter Jr. to be a scorer for your team in order to keep pace with the Utah Jazz right now. Because right now, Jordan Clarkson, Donovan Mitchell, and Mike Conley, they are dictating the pace of these games. You need Porter to keep up the scoring with this team. I think you need Porter or Millsap to be a consistent third scoring option for the Denver Nuggets because I like the production I'm getting from Jamal Murray and Jokic. I think Jamal Murray honestly been balling out so far in these playoffs. Yeah. I don't put none of these losses on the shoulders of Jamal Murray. He is the up-and-coming future star we have in this league. And to drop 50 points last night was amazing. He went mano-a-mano with Donovan Mitchell. He just couldn't get no help from his other players on his team. But I think defensively, Mike Malone and the Denver Nuggets, they have to trap Donovan Mitchell so he doesn't come off that pick and roll and be a playmaker or a scorer. That's the problem. I think Donovan Mitchell, when he comes off the pick and roll, he's either going to score or they're going to foul him or he's going to create an opportunity for another player passing the ball out. They need to trap Donovan Mitchell and then force someone else to be a playmaker, not just Donovan Mitchell.
And let me say this before we go to the next topic. If you think about it, okay, let me ask you this question. Who wins game 5 tomorrow? Do you obviously got the Jazz closing them out?
I'm going to take the Nuggets tomorrow. tomorrow. Yeah, because I think the Nuggets still got a little bit more heart left in them, and they'll show some resilience and show why they were a 3rd seed in the tough Western Conference. I got the Nuggets beating the Jazz tomorrow by a small margin. It'll be like probably about 6 or 7 points, and I have them pushing this series to a 6 game.
I have the Utah Jazz closing the game out tomorrow because they have the momentum and they're on fire and they don't have no answer for Donovan Mitchell. Like Donovan Mitchell is going crazy at the free throw line, even on the floor. And you got to think about it though. The momentum is there, right? The momentum is there, and they're just gonna be waiting on who they play the winner between the Dallas Mavericks and the LA Clippers.
Yeah, let's move on to some NFL. The Baltimore Ravens are moving on from Earl Thomas. The Baltimore Ravens have released 7-time Pro Bowl safety Earl Thomas after he punched teammate Chuck Clark Friday in practice. Ravens are expected to try and void Earl Thomas' guaranteed $10 million salary for contract detrimental to the team. Teams who are interested in Earl Thomas include the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So my question for you is, Clarence, which team would be the best fit for Earl Thomas?
See, I've been talking about this. He'll be a good fit, but I think the realistically fit will be the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that would be the realistic fit, though. But I think the best fit for him will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, why not join the shift with Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, all those winners on that team? And think about it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they don't necessarily have like a veteran leader. So I think he would bring his veteran presence there. But in order for him to work with them, he has to know that team first, player second. But I think this would be a good fit though, because he brings that veteran presence, and he's still a ball hawk. He's one of the best ball hawks in the NFL. I think he's a good zone coverage safety too. So I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the best fit for him. What about you?
Before I get into that, I want to give you some context to this story, because I've been wondering, why did the Baltimore Ravens all of a sudden release Earl Thomas? We only have 3 weeks until week 1. And like all of a sudden just release a player, Earl Thomas, to a major deal in March of 2019. This was last year. And that deal was the biggest deal in Ravens history that they signed. Yes, that wasn't a quarterback. And you got to think about it, they've had some great players in that organization, like Ray Lewis, like Ed Reed. Earl Thomas had the biggest contract in Ravens history, not named a quarterback on their roster. That was amazing. But Peter King, he wrote a story this morning on his Football Morning America column. He wrote, Thomas was not well liked by his teammates. He had a pattern of being late, and in a recent practice, he made multiple assignment errors, causing defensive teammates to confront him about his unpreparedness. He missed at least one walkthrough with no valid excuse. When the incident at Friday's practice took place, very few, if any, teammates came to his defense. Most teammates backed Clark, the significant less name, of the two players. So that's some context that I wanted to let everybody know on this situation. When it comes to which team is the best fit for Earl Thomas, I disagree with you. I think the Dallas Cowboys, they are the best fit for Earl Thomas. Last year, I remember it was one game I was watching with the Seahawks and the Cowboys, and it might have been not last year. I'm sorry, it was 2 years ago, I believe, when he was still in Seattle. Earl Thomas went into the Cowboys locker room and practically told Jerry Jones, "Come get me. I want to be a part of this team." He told Jerry Jones, "Come trade for me. I want to be a part of your team." So I think, considering that Earl Thomas, he's from Texas, he played for the Texas Longhorns.
Right.
I think they would be a better fit for Earl Thomas. And right now, when it comes to their roster, right now they have Ha Clinton Dix and Xavier Woods at the safety position. If you bring in Earl Thomas, he would give you an upgrade over those two guys. I think Earl Thomas, even at age, I can't remember exactly how old he is, but
30.
I can't remember exactly how old he is. How old is he?
I think he's 30 years old.
30 years old. At 30 years old, he's a 7-time Pro Bowl player, 3-time first-team All-Pro Bowl player, on the 2010 All-Decade team. He has 30 interceptions clearance in his career, and he's a proven playmaker in the NFL. I still think Earl Thomas can contribute on your team if you bring him in on a low money deal. Like, bring him 31. In on a low money deal.
He's 31.
He's 31. Okay, he's 31 years of age. I think he can still help your team win football games. I think it's more like a low risk, high reward type of situation. If you bring him in to your team and you pay him a significant low amount of money and you get quality production from him, I think it could be a win for Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones of the Dallas Cowboys.
And believe it or not, Jerry Jones like those type of guys, those rowdy guys that's savvy and don't want to listen, because he knows how to work his way around it. But Dallas would be the best fit for him too, though. But and I think so too, because one, like you say, give him an upgrade on that team. 2, he's already from Texas, and 3, I think it will make that Cowboys team a top 5 team in the NFL. I think they will be a top 5 NFL team in the NFL if they add Earl Thomas.
And then last year in the NFL, the Cowboys had the least amount of interceptions. They didn't get any interceptions last year. For his career, Earl Thomas has 30 interceptions. So overall in his career, so he can help you in the passing game defensively. He can help you get stops in the passing game and in coverage. So I think he's going to be a significant upgrade over HaHa Clinton-Dix and Xavier Woods. So I think Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones should bring him in on like a $2 or $3 million deal for 1 year and see what he's got left in the tank. I still think he can produce at a high level. And if you remember, Clarence, when Legion of Boom was booming in Seattle, when you had Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Brandon Browner, Earl Thomas was the dog of that defense. Cam Chancellor was the hitter. He was the one that was going to lay the wood on you if you come across that middle. But Earl Thomas was the dog defensively, and he got a lot of interceptions for that Seahawks secondary. I like Earl Thomas. Yeah, say it again.
He can tackle too. He'll lay a hit on you too.
He can't tackle. I think he had like 49 total tackles last year for the Ravens. He didn't do very well in the playoff game against Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry threw him around like a rag doll. But overall, Earl Thomas is a solid safety in the NFL, and I still think he has something left in the tank. I think Stephen Jones, the general manager for the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones should take a shot on him.
This don't break the bank on no Earl Thomas. Don't break the bank on Earl Thomas, but I truly believe he got like 2 or 3 years left, 2 or 3 years left in the league because he had previous injuries, but the injuries hasn't catch back up to him. But if he stays healthy and he beat that prove-a year, you can sign him on to a 2 or 3 year deal that bring him on and keep building with your team.
Yeah, but it gotta be a team that has leadership at the coaching position. Because clearly something's going on with Earl Thomas. For the Ravens to sign him to a new contract March of last year, and then they release him not even 2 years after you just signed into a new deal, clearly something is going on with Earl Thomas as a player and as a person that the Baltimore Ravens didn't like. It was something that John Harbaugh and Newsom, the owner for the Ravens, they didn't necessarily like from Earl Thomas. It was something going on. I know he had an issue in the offseason. I think he got into an altercation with his wife, but that's his own personal business. That has nothing to do with him on the football field. When it comes to what happened on the football field, I think it does mean something. The fact that in that altercation that he had with that Clark kid, the fact that players came to Clark's defense and not Earl Thomas' defense, because they said Earl Thomas, he had his own mind made up and blitzed on that particular play, and they had an understanding before they ran the play of what they were supposed to do. And Earl Thomas rather, he wanted to do his own thing and he blitzed. That's why Clark was so upset. So Earl Thomas goes off and punches Clark, and they said teammates defended Clark more so than they defended Earl Thomas. So I think that kind of speaks volumes about what's really going on with him as a player right now. He got to get his act together. Okay, you muted. I can't hear you.
My bad. I just think for Earl Thomas, man, you gotta throw the ego out the way, man. You gotta play team ball. He's a good safety, and I think that if he shows value to the team, they'll play all out. They play all out.
Let's move on. You got the next topic going here?
Oh yeah, we got the next topic, baby. So on Saturday, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Portland Trail Blazers in 116-108. Game 4 is tonight at 9 o'clock, right after Wise Guys. These guys know sport, and y'all watching this on worldwide radio, so make sure y'all tune in on the Lakers and Blazers game on. So now, Trey, I'm coming to pick your brain again. What went wrong in Game 3?
Well, what went wrong in Game 3 was the Lakers went 28 of 43 from the free throw line. The Blazers went 18 of 19. So the Lakers were a plus 10 in that category. I think the Blazers were doing way too much fouling in Game 3, Clarence. They put the Lakers on the line way, way too much. And I think the Lakers took advantage of it. In the first half, the Lakers had missed a ton of free throws. LeBron missed some free throws. Anthony Davis missed some free throws. But in the second half, the Lakers hit their free throws. But I think in order to upset a 1 seed, you can't put them on the free throw line 43 times and expect to win. Also, in the fourth quarter, during a 7-minute stretch, the Blazers only scored 3 total field goals. And when you can't get stops defensively, you can't have those scoring droughts. If you're a team that's trying to outscore your opponent, you can't go 7 minutes with only 3 total field goals being made. I thought they lost the game in the fourth quarter, only hitting 3 shots. Also, Nurkic, he has to score more than 10 points for the Blazers to win, Clarence. Too many times I watched on Saturday, he would get the ball in the post, and he would go up so soft. Nurkic, listen, bro, you are too big to be going up so soft against these Laker defenders. You're going up against a defensive player of the year candidate and Anthony Davis, a defensive player of the year winner and Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. You got to go up much stronger, Nurkic. You can't keep going up so soft. I saw too many times, Clarence, where Nurkic was just going up soft, and he didn't have any kind of confidence in his game in the low post. The Trailblazers need more out of Nurkic. And one more thing I want to say. Defensively, they have to stop coming off of Anthony Davis on the pick and roll. Stay attached to him and make him hit tough shots over you. When you come off of him on the pick and roll, it leaves him open for a jump shot at the top of the key. And this is Anthony Davis that we're talking about, a 7-time All-Star, one of the best players we have in the NBA. You can't leave him open for jump shots. The hell with Alex Caruso. We don't care about no Alex Caruso. It was times, Clarence, where I saw them come off Anthony Davis and go on Alex Caruso. The hell with Alex Caruso? We don't care about no Alex Caruso. That's the issues that I've had with the Portland Trailblazers in Game 3, and that's ultimately why they lost.
Yeah, and let me give you a quick update real quick. The Miami Heat is leading the Indiana Pacers with 84-73 with under 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. It looks like Miami is on his way to sweep them, man.
I was wrong about that. I was wrong about that series.
I thought it was going to 7, but
me too. We both was wrong. We was wrong.
I think we were wrong in Game 3. Like you said, they let AD shoot a lot of mid-range open shots. They let him get comfortable in his natural game that he's good in. And when you let somebody get natural comfortable in their spots, like they start to heat up. And for LeBron James, we know what we expect out of him. But I think at the time he had to let AD play his game and let him take on the leadership as well. And that's what AD did. He got great looks at the rim, and he just executed right then and there. And he was very focused on his shots. And Nurkic, he was underestimating those. And he lost confidence in defending him because he didn't know that he can knock down them constant jumpers. But I think, like you said, Nurkic, he has to play better defense in order for the Portland Trailblazers to get back into this series. Because right now in Game 4 tonight, AD's looking for that mid-range shot again, Trey. He's looking for that mid-range shot. So it's right there. Like, it's right then and there. They looked over film and they see what AD what he gonna do tonight. But for AD, you gotta keep pumping. You gotta keep pumping the gas, man. You had a great game last on Saturday. Now continue that performance on until tonight. Definitely.
Yeah. And Anthony Davis, he had 29 points. But 12 of his 29 points came in the fourth quarter. So when LeBron needed Anthony Davis to step up and hit shots, he did just that in the fourth quarter, Clarence. Right. When I watched the game, I felt like Portland actually played pretty well. They didn't play bad on Saturday. They just couldn't get defensive stops. And they had that scoring drought in the fourth quarter when they only hit 3 shots in 7 minutes. It can't happen when you're trying to beat a number 1 seed team like the Lakers. They have to stay attached to Anthony Davis on these pick and rolls. And also, the Portland Trailblazers got out-rebounded 55-38 in Game 3. They must improve on that if they want to have any chance of evening up this series in Game 4 tonight.
Not good. So let me ask you this real quick. What adjustment does Terry Stotts needs to make in Game 4 tonight to even up this series?
I think, again, defensively, they must start double teaming Anthony Davis and make sure you stay attached to him on defense. Make sure you stay attached. Make sure you make him hit tough shots over your defenders, Hassan Whiteside and Nurkic. Guess what? It's Anthony Davis. He's going to hit some tough shots over your defense. But you can't leave him open for easy perimeter shots. You can't just have him out there open on the perimeter. He'll hit those shots. Only thing I think Anthony Davis needs to do better in this series is he has to shoot better from the free throw line because he went 7 of 14 from the free throw line in game 3. He has to improve on his free throw shooting, Clarence. He has to do better. But overall, since game 1, Anthony Davis has played well. And since game 1, he's 24 of 39 from the field shooting-wise. That's 61% from the floor. So he's been very efficient for the Lakers, and he showed why he's universally recognized as a top 5 player in the NBA.
This is my fault. I should have told you this is a 2-part question. So, Dame Dollar dislocated his finger. So how you feel about Dame Dollar performance with that left index finger?
I thought Dame Dollar actually played pretty well. I don't think that the injury really affected him too much in this game. He still had a pretty good game in my estimation. I just think that stretch in that fourth quarter where they only hit 3 shots in 7 minutes, that's what killed the Portland Trailblazers. I don't think they played a bad game. I thought CJ and Dame came out offensively ready. Like they was hitting perimeter shots in the beginning of the game. They even got out to a nice lead, in the first quarter over the Lakers. But I think the overall injury didn't really affect Damian Lillard's performance too much. I thought he still played pretty well for the Portland Trailblazers. So, that's my overall opinion.
All right. Who wins games 4 tonight?
I got the Blazers winning game 4. I got them. Listen, because I told y'all it's going 7. It's going 7. In order for that to happen, the Blazers got to win game 4 and even up this series tonight. If we go down 3-1, Clarence, I'm going to be singing a different tune on Wednesday. So I got the Blazers winning a nail biter tonight.
Oh, man. Look, okay. I obviously got the Lakers winning tonight. I think they can carry on the momentum as they did for game 3. I think they're going to be more spectacular. LeBron James and AD is going to be spectacular. But real quick, give me your score prediction.
Score, I got Blazers winning 110, Lakers 103.
All right, I got LeBron. I'll say 124 to 115.
Okay, let's move on to some NFL. Rob Gronkowski recently made some comments about Tom Brady, saying that Tom Brady's arm may actually be stronger now than it was when he was 33. So, as we close the show today, our last topic of the day, do you expect to see a revitalized Tom Brady in year 21 after Gronk's recent comments?
33 years old. I think he was playing. That was the undefeated season, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Gronk intensity of supporting his players, though. I actually when I look at this though, Trey, when I look at this, I see Tom Brady has a lot of weapons. I see that he's going to be throwing the deep ball a lot in this season. And we don't know that he's getting this good workout. He's working on his arm strength so he can be able to. But I see Brady actually having a great year this year. I actually think so. I think that it won't be the same as 2008. No, 2008 when he was 33. He threw 50 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That was his career. That was his career season. That was probably the best season he probably had. That's the number 1 season. Regardless of the Super Bowl winning season, that season alone was more impressive than any season in his career. But I think that was an overreact. I think it won't be no similar arm strength as he was when he was 33, but you will see Tom Brady throw a lot of deep balls to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin because Chris Godwin's a great run out to catch receiver. Mike Evans, he's a streaky guy. He can go deep, curls and post routes. So you're going to be seeing Tom Brady throw a lot of deep passes. And another thing, too, before I give you the floor, will Gronkowski run them 10 and 15 yards? Because he said if you're like complimenting that Brady arm is so strong enough, now all focus is on you. Will you be able to run them 10, 15-yard posts, 10-yard slants, maybe a streak? Can you still revitalize the catches, Gronk?
Yeah. But do you think we will see a revitalized Tom Brady in year 21? Yes or no?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think you ain't gonna see like 2008. I don't think so though. But you go see him throwing like a lot of passes, and would you agree? He gonna throw at least like 40 passes a game, man. 40 attempts.
Perhaps we'll see. But when I look at Tom Brady, do I think we're gonna see a revitalized Tom Brady in year 21? I'll say no. But I will say this, Clarence: if there was ever a player to pull it off, it'd be Tom Brady. Considering this year he has elite weapons for the Buccaneers. Elite. He got Mike Evans at the receiver position. He got Chris Godwin, one of the best number two receivers we have in the NFL. You got Rob Gronkowski, a first ballot tight end Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? You got Cameron Brate, who also can produce for you in the passing game. He has a numerous of receivers to throw the ball to and distribute the football to. So it's a high possibility that we could see a revitalized Tom Brady in year 21. But the biggest issue for me is, Clarence, last year when I looked at Tom Brady, he only had 24 touchdowns. He had 8 interceptions last year for the Patriots. He threw for over 4,000 passing yards, completed 61% of his passes. That was a down year for Tom Brady. He completely regressed. But I will admit that receiver core that he had last year in New England wasn't very good. This receiver core that he has in Tampa Bay is an elite receiver core.
Elite.
So, yes, elite. So I'm gonna be honest. I say no, that we won't see a revitalized Tom Brady in year 21 because I don't think he has that arm strength anymore. Like Gronk, I think Gronk is just getting a little bit happy seeing him in camp, because in camp right now, there's no defense that you're going up against. There's no opposing team that you have to play against right now. So we just seeing Tom Brady out there, in helmets and shorts and pads, throwing the ball against, people that's not there. Like he's not going up against an elite defense that's trying to stop him. So I think this is an overreaction by Rob Gronkowski. But again, if there was a player that could pull it off, it would be Tom Brady, and he does have the support. He does have the supporting cast to revitalize his career, even in year 21.
And I agree with you that. But Trey, it's 3 weeks. We're 3 weeks away until the NFL season start. My mouth is drooling like I am so ready for some football, and I'm actually excited what Tom Brady gonna do with these weapons. And I'm excited because he got a nice team around him. And there should be no wrongs in this game, like in his team, because he has elite receivers on both sides of the field. Like, excuse me. That would be something that is going to be the most watched. Will Tom Brady will at least have like a good season? But he's going to be on our radar of watching in the NFL, definitely.
Yes, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they the real deal. They the real deal at the receiver positions. I think I would consider them one of the best receiver duos we have in the NFL. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I actually agree with that, though. I think they're one of the best duos in the league. Mike Evans, he's like, ever since he came out of college, he had 7 straight seasons with at least 1,000 yards. And Chris Godwin, I like that yards per catch. He was astounding. He was astounding for this team, and he complimented Mike Evans a lot because Mike Evans used to get double teamed a lot, but now they got to worry about two elite receivers on the team now. And I think they're going to be very dangerous with a hungry Tom Brady in year 21.
For sure. Coming up on the show on Wednesday, we're going to have Brooks Barnheiser, a commit to Northwestern, on the show on Wise Guys on the Wise Sports Network. Clarence, I'm definitely excited to talk with Brooks. It's going to be an exciting show. It's going to be an exciting show on Wednesday, bro.
Time to pick his brain, man. And one thing too, Trey, I love the signatures, man. When you be saying, I love your signatures when you be saying like, yeah, they're gonna lose some sleep tonight and elite. I love those signatures from you, bro.
Yes, sir. We're excited to have Brooks Barnheiser on the show on Wednesday. So we're excited about that. Northwest commit. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Everybody remember, go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_OH, also on Facebook, Wise Guys. I'm about to go watch my Portland Trailblazers even up this series, Clarence. I see you on Wednesday.
See you, man. I see you.